Hi everyone, it's Juliet Elliott here for We Love Cycling. Now in today's video I'm going to be talking you through how I plan my bikepacking routes. I'm going to be sharing with you lots of tips for a small or large adventure, and I will also talk you through the various different apps and resources that you might find helpful for planning your own route. So whether you're a novice or a seasoned cyclist, watch on for some great helpful tips. So the first thing you need to do is determine the purpose of your bikepacking trip and define your goals. Are you looking for a challenging adventure or a leisurely sightseeing ride? All of this can determine where you go and for how long. Then of course there are external factors like how much time you can get off work and your current level of fitness. So consider all these and your preferences regarding terrain and elevation to get a rough idea of where to start. The next thing I like to do is to research routes that already exist. This can be a way of really keeping things simple, and if you don't want to take a ready-made route, then you could always use it as a starting point. So go online, join cycling forums and communities, buy guidebooks, or you could look at a website such as bikepacking.com that has a lot of quite well-researched routes carefully presented for people to go ahead and ride. I would always suggest that you do a bit of additional research. Don't just grab a route off the internet, go out and ride it, but it can be a really good starting point. Komoot has a lot of route collections, so it's worth looking through some of their suggestions. Or you could buy some of the really cool guidebooks that are on offer. I've got a whole shelf of them, and for me, a pleasant evening is just sitting, flicking through those and kind of daydreaming. Cycling UK develop and promote some great routes here in the UK, so I definitely suggest having a look there. You could check out the King Alfred's Way as one suggestion, or there are other established routes such as the Second City Divide, the Badger Divide. There are so many. Just go and do a bit of research and it will be fun, I promise you. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of planning your route or refining one that you found online. Along with paper maps, there are three main resources that are used for this, which are Strava, Ride with GPS and Komoot. So I will talk you through the pros and cons of all of those. Okay, so let's start with Komoot. This is often my first stop for discovering a ready-made route. Komoot has a comprehensive set of features tailored specifically for outdoor adventurers, and it provides detailed maps with information on surface type, elevation gain, difficulty levels and points of interest. So you can customize your route based on your preferred terrain and activity type, and then link together segments or highlights that have been recommended by other users. For me, the best thing about Komoot is its simple, user-friendly interface, plus its large database of user-generated routes and user-generated highlights. So if you are going to a particular region, you can have a look at segments that have been recommended by other users and then plan a route that links all of them together. It also has detailed offline maps, so you can download your routes and keep them on your phone, and it has turn-by-turn direction, so if you're navigating again with your phone, that can be very, very handy. The only slight negatives I would say about Komoot are that it can be quite hard to undo something you have done to a route. So you make a mistake and you want to take one step back, that can be a little bit tricky. I have also been routed along some questionable trails in the past, but I suppose that's all part of the fun. And of course, some of the features that I've described, the multi-day trip planning, they do require a subscription. Ride with GPS is, in my mind, slightly more sophisticated than Komoot, although it can seem less user-friendly as a result. I tend to head for Ride with GPS if I am planning a route for a bikepacking race, because I like the fact that you can add in lots of detail. So you can add waypoints with detailed information about when services open and close, and I'll add the places I'm staying and all sorts of notes and annotations. It also integrates quite well with heat maps, so you can see the most popular routes in the area that you're traveling to, and it also integrates with Google Earth, so you can make considered choices by taking the little person and having a walk around the route you're considering. That way you can check out the terrain and whether it really is the best way for you to go. Ride with GPS integrates very well with some fitness trackers and cycling computers. So for me, if I plan a route on Ride with GPS, then pin it to my profile, when I turn on my Garmin computer, the route will appear. Like with Komoot, some of the premium features require a subscription, but I found the basic version is pretty good. My only other slight negative would be, as I mentioned before, it can seem slightly less intuitive and user-friendly when you're getting started. Strava is your third option for route planning. For me, Strava is more of a social fitness platform and a way of evaluating and comparing rides and segments. And I feel like their route planning is slightly less developed than the other two apps, but it is very straightforward and easy to use. And if you've got a Strava subscription anyway, then why not check out their route planning? You can zone in on all your favorite segments and create a ride that links them all together, and you can save that to your ride section of your profile so that you can always access it. Strava's heat maps are a nice feature. You can look at the most popular routes in the area. On the negative side, you can't download offline maps and there's no turn-by-turn direction as of yet. Once you've found the app you want to use or the area you want to ride in, have a think about what your daily mileage might be. Bear in mind that a fully loaded bike will make you a lot slower, and also it's nice to have a bit of extra time to look around whilst you're bike packing rather than just whizzing on through like you might do on a road ride. It's always helpful to have more than one option. Don't go for a route that means you 100% have to get somewhere or you'll have nowhere to sleep or eat. It's worth having one or two different options on each day's ride so that you can be a bit more flexible. I like to create a spreadsheet or just a list of where I can get food, water or shelter, and I annotate that saying at which kilometre those things appear on my route. Then you can add the opening and closing times of shops or restaurants on your route so you make sure that there's always a place for you to eat. Once you've decided how far you'll be riding and in what area, then grab your route planning app and put in your starting point. The next thing to do is simply to add the end point and any waypoints along the way that you want to visit, then see what the app generates. Start really zoning in on what's suggested, walk around on Google Earth and examine the surfaces and have a think about how weather conditions might affect the route that's been generated. I always like to save a couple of copies of my route, so I've got the original one that I planned, and then I like to play around with the other one, making little changes and seeing what the effect is. So I might drag my route onto a different road or bridleway and then have a look at the effect that has on the distance and elevation. If you're using an app that allows you to do so, then you could add in your resupply points, your potential places where you might want to sleep, and then you've got it all on one document. Or, as I say, have the list, or make yourself a Google map with your route overlaid and all the little places that you want to visit on it. You can download Google Maps to your phone so that you can see them when you are offline. Also make sure you have a copy of the route offline on your bike computer or on your phone. And backup maps are always a really good idea, just in case you lose all power. And my final bit of advice before you head off to have some fun is to have a little think about your safety. Have a really good look at the weather forecast and then analyse your route for any potentially dodgy sections. It can be good to have a kind of alternate route or get out clause in case you don't reach your milestones or targets on time, or in case you find that the weather conditions have changed drastically. Make sure you pack a first aid kit, an emergency blanket, spare clothes, spare food, and all the tools you need to repair your bike, plus have the knowledge to do it. Other than that, I just hope you have a really, really good time. Bike packing is the most fun ever, so get out there and enjoy.